Kate, thank you for joining us on talkSPORT. First of all, we've got to talk about last night. What a wonderful achievement. Can you put it into words yet?
No, it's quite surreal still, just thinking about the occasion. I mean, it was a wonderful occasion for women's football per se, but for us, it's still a bit of a pinch-me moment that we've actually made it into a World Cup final, but a wonderful occasion for everybody.
And for you personally as well, you would have coached a lot of these players through the youth system. So is that extra sense of pride for you seeing those players on the biggest stage of all?
Yeah, it makes me feel old, but I'm extremely proud to see them fulfilling their dreams. From knowing them, from some of them kind of 8, 9, 10 years of age, is a really proud moment.
And in terms of, you're part of that team behind the team, as it were, technical director, and I'm interested, especially since Serena's come in, what changes you've seen, not just obviously at the senior level, but what's been implemented now through that England system.
Yeah, we worked really hard just before Serena came in and when she did come in to make sure that we had systems and structures in place to give our players every chance of preparing effectively and being able to be ready to meet the demands of the game. And that's something that we deliver throughout all of our age group teams. We put in place a really good, clear blueprint for success. For all of our development teams, which is a playing, coaching and operating curriculum that helps us ensure that we can proactively develop players throughout all of the ages and stages and get them ready for senior team competition. But for us, it's really around building a culture too, building a really welcoming, high-performing culture that's, high level, allows everybody to be themselves and thrive in that environment. And I think you can see that playing out here too.
Yeah, I think that's shown, and especially, since Serena's come in, the freedom that the senior team play with, and obviously that then comes down through the system. Is that something that they're now seeing in terms of the success through the system as well?
Yeah, we have a real clear playing style and identity that we develop specific for our game. To again, we've done a big piece of work around the demands of the game, both from a technical, tactical point of view. What is it that we needed to do and be prepared for? We knew the game was evolving, and I think if you look back at the 2019 World Cup, the game's very different to then. If you look back even further to the 2015 World Cup, the game looked very different then too. So we had to keep up with the modern kind of way that the game was developing on and off the pitch, and I think we now have a really good, clear identity and style of play that we deliver throughout all of our pathway teams and connected with our seniors.
And specific to what England are looking for and the sort of players, has that changed with the evolution and quite specific to what Serena wants from a team, and also that personal aspect of being around a squad as well and making sure that they're together?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's changed our talent ID philosophy. I think that's remained the same. We want to identify talent all over the country. Talent ID is a fundamental part of making sure that we get the right players in the system and we're able to then wrap the right support around each of those individual players to give them the best possible chance of succeeding. And so our identification processes haven't changed, and the types of players that we're selecting, all of these players come through the system pre-Serena. We've done a pretty good job of ensuring that we've got a really good conveyor belt. We've got a fantastic under-23 squad now too. So the future is, really good in terms of the numbers and depth of players that we got coming through the system.
And in terms of that system, obviously the Lionesses at the senior level very much have a target on their back now. And is that something that maybe the youth teams are seeing as well, as soon as they're going into competition, having that England badge on your chest? It's almost a bit of a marker now, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they feel the pressure. I think they feel really excited to be part of something that's really special. Every player, you put your boots on when you're younger and you dream of being in FA Cup finals and World Cup finals, and now that's a possibility. So, we've got a really great carrot for those players to kind of latch onto and ensure that we provide the support for them to help them, give them every chance. That's our jobs. Our job is to help those players get on those big stages and be ready to perform at the highest level. And that's what gives us the success.
I know this is probably a difficult question and it might be hard to pinpoint one thing, but in general, when we're talking about 10, 15 years ago and now where this system is, what do you think has been one of the biggest changes that's improved and got the Lionesses to where they are now and the FA system?
I think there's two things. I think there's the fundamental piece around St George's Park, to have a home. I mean, for many years we used to trawl the roads. We stayed in hotels all over the country, training venues that we were beg, borrow and stealing. Now we have a home. We have an England home that caters for all of our England teams, men, women and para teams. And it's a fantastic place for us to develop players and help support prepared teams. I think that was a real big marker for us over a decade ago now. And I also think a real big step forward that we made a couple of years back now is to create our own women's technical division within the FA. And I think, again, that was a massive stride forward because it meant that we could drive our own strategy, we could drive our own plan, we could resource where we wanted to resource effectively, we could appoint the staff that we thought were appropriate, and we were able, what I describe as get on a speedboat. We were able to inject the women's game with things that we knew that were right and ready for the women's game, and I think we're seeing reaping the benefit of that now.
And you talk about St George's Park. We saw last year with the Euros and the girls training and the senior men's team watching on the side. Just little moments like that. Does that make a huge difference? It maybe not seem like a big thing at the time, but that equality, that equity, that parity, is that something that's driven forward as well?
Yeah, it really has. And we genuinely do feel like we are one team England. I think the staff, we have a really good relationship across the men and women's game and our para teams too. We share offices together, and we often compare notes and do education training sessions together. So we work really, really well together, and it really does feel like a place called home.
And in terms of, as well, the system as a whole, again, we're probably going to expect a lot more girls wanting to get into the game after seeing what the Lionesses have achieved, and sort of is the system ready for that to keep accepting more players?
I think the system's ready for it. I think we need to give these players opportunity. I think that's one of our biggest things going forwards is, we can find talent, we can find players. I think on a participation level, the team have done an incredible job to ensure that there's opportunities and places for players to play. From a more kind of talent performance point of view, we need to ensure that we remain giving our players opportunity to play at the highest level. I think the professionalisation of the WSL and Championship has been incredible, and I'd love to see more of our young players coming through and playing in those teams.
Okay, thank you very much. Good luck for the final.
You're very welcome.